Eric writes, I have a bit of a loaded question on a subject I have not heard you discuss. I wanted to know if you think if Hollywood will ever make a gay male lead character in an action film, or even, dare I say, superhero film that doesn't adhere to any of the typical stereotypes. Personally, I am tired of mainstream LGBT characters made to be that, or that they die or suffer in film almost all the time directly in association with their sexuality. Is it that Hollywood feels the need to cater to heterosexual men because they are the big spenders at the box office and there might be a homophobia attached to this? I, just as a gay man who likes the blockbuster films, would like to see an action hero from my community represented in a proper way. Your thoughts?
Eric, thanks a lot for the question, and you're right. This is a loaded question. And I told the guys beforehand, it's my mission today to tick everybody off. So here we go. I think you've touched on a couple of very insightful points when talking about when are we going to see a gay lead superhero character, which I think we've touched on once, maybe about 6 months ago, or a gay lead, big action star, action hero guy. Never before in history, we're in a period of time right now where we have more gay characters in a lot of our popular mainstream media than ever before. That new Andy Samberg show, District 99 or whatever it's called, one of the leads in that thing, the lieutenant is a gay character. That's great. One of my top 3 favorite sitcoms on TV right now, Modern Family, like 2 of the major characters, and one of the major plot lines in that whole show is about gay characters. So we're living in an age now where we're starting to see that sort of thing happen. However, we're asking about why haven't we seen them yet? And I believe there are 2 things at play here. And number one, I do believe you're right that there is still, even though today is much better than it was 20 years ago, there is still an element of homophobia. There just simply is. And that's unfortunate. Like I said, it's way better today than it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, back in the days of milk. But it still exists. So that's one hurdle that still has to be overcome. And as a society, we are moving in that direction, and that's great. But the other thing I think is a little bit less nefarious than homophobia, and I think that's simply the idea of cognitive identification. A lot of times when we're watching superhero films, like ridiculous guys like me, I watch Captain America, and there's a part of me that feels like I can be that guy. When I'm watching Iron Man, there is a ridiculously disconnected part of my brain that thinks I can be Tony Stark. There's an association with it. And this one report I read, which is really quite brilliant, there's very few things that are strongly more embedded in us with our identity than our sexuality. And so when we see a character that is, let's say we see a character on screen who is a small, speaks broken English Caucasian gentleman, we have a hard time identifying with that. That's not us. We can't identify with him, and so we don't really get attracted to those types of characters, those types of movies, and those types of projects. And so studios go, well, we're in the business of making a product that people want to engage with and buy, so we're going to put out things that more people can identify with. So I think you're really onto something here. I think there's a part of it that the studios realize that they need to make these characters in these movies that do cater to the heterosexual guys in our society. And there's nothing wrong with that from a business point of view. It's just what we identify with, but things are changing. I also don't think, and this is where I get into a debate with a lot of my friends, I don't think that it is the responsibility or the jobs of movie studios to make society accept certain things. I think it's the movie business's job to reflect what the society is doing. There was this great quote I read. They had to do, I can't remember if it was Ford or GM, one of the big car companies. And it was back in the day when it was just post-World War II, more and more women started entering the workforce. And there was this question about, well, with more women entering the workforce, should these companies create jobs for women? And this one executive at one of the car companies said this brilliant quote. He said, "It's not really our job to create jobs for women. It is our job to make jobs available to women as more and more of them enter the workforce." I thought that was brilliant. And I think that same principle applies to the film and the television industry today. As the gay community becomes more and more accepted, and we get past a lot of these old prejudices that we used to have in our society, and we're getting better and better at that, I think we're going to see studios, television networks, things like that, start to reflect that in our society more and more. But I don't think it's their job to make it happen. Will we ever see a gay lead superhero movie? I have no doubt. Absolutely no doubt that we will. When? really depends on the pace of change in our society. And you know what? And our pace of change is never the same. It's not like we're always going at this speed of progress. Sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it's slow. So I really have no idea, but I have no doubt that at some point we will. Dennis?
Yeah, I think it comes down to money. I mean, right now, if let's say homosexual action heroes were a big thing and everyone would go see it, Hollywood would be cranking them out left and right.
No doubt.
They're not. It's not like they're opposed to it. They just want to make money. That's their end goal. In terms of like reflection and shaping this society with characters, yeah, I think it's one of those tough gray areas where it's a cyclical thing where yeah, you can reflect, but at the same time you want to make things available. It's not maybe their responsibility, but you do have to give opportunities. I mean, I can't relate to being a gay person, but speaking as an Asian American male, you look at the progress. It's very, very slow for Asian American males. I mean, name the two guys that you probably recognize right now is John Cho, who was in Star Trek. He was he's a major character. He wasn't the lead. And then you have Steve Yeun on The Walking Dead that plays Glenn.
Right.
And that's about it. I mean, you can't really. Jackie Chan and Jet Li, those are actors that were big overseas that they brought over.
Right.
And these are two that are actually from the U.S. So I just think that eventually there will be a gay action hero or superhero, but it's gonna take a while. And there are, some small glimpses of hope. One of my favorite shows, The Wire. Right. Omar. Mm-hmm. He's like one of the best characters on that show, and he was gay. So I don't know. I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen far down the line.
Yeah, and they made Omar of his homosexuality a large part of that storyline, right, and the things that he had to go through because of that. So, speaking superheroes, I mean, I think you can go two ways, and it'll be happening very soon. I know that's a question that's pertinent, but I mean, when you think about like even the X-Men movie, half of everyone on that project is either homosexual or it's an unsaid thing. But what the question is asking, like, when are we going to see that as an actual character? You can go Batwoman, who's in the comic books. Right. She's a lesbian right now. But maybe the studios would be like, hey, that's too close. We don't want to get on the Batman tip while we're relaunching stuff and then have any kind of drama, which I don't think it would be a big drama, but it'd be a cool thing. Or you can go with The Authority, where you basically had like a surrogate Justice League characters, and two of them, Apollo and Midnighter, were basically Batman and Superman were gay and were a couple. And it never really was made up in a bad way. It was actually like, it was just a kind of a cool thing, like, all right, I'll see you later tonight, It was just like a regular couple interacting, but it was two guys. So I mean, I think that's the kind of way that I think especially superhero movies would be smart to do, is don't make it a big thing. Like, don't make it as a character part that, because they're gay, they have all these issues. It's just, hey, they're gay. So that's how it is. That person's straight, that person's gay. We got to save people. We're superheroes. It's not an issue. I think that's the way to deal with it, is don't make it an issue. So, and one of the things that
this comes up again and again, and it's true. One of the things that is working in everybody's benefit here, trust in the greed of Hollywood. That sounds weird, but sometimes the greed of Hollywood can be a very powerful force for good. A lot of people think Hollywood has an agenda. People on the right think Hollywood has a left agenda. People on the left think Hollywood has a right agenda. You know who Hollywood has an agenda for? The green agenda. Yeah. They want the money. And they're not going to hold back progress at all. Trust me, the moment they think a North Star, who is a gay comic book character, the moment they think, and they sniff in those greedy little nostrils of theirs, that they think a North Star movie can make them a little bit of money, boom, you're going to get a North Star movie. So trust in the greed of Hollywood. Greed is good.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.